All right, we're just getting set up here this morning. Let's see. Good morning, YouTube subscribers and YouTube followers. We are setting ourselves up to be live on Instagram. Okay, great. Looks like we are set. Good morning, everyone. Welcome aboard to the Morning Note. My name is Carlos Garcia. I'm the founder and CEO of Gar Capital. Finally got this to work. I got the Morning Note live on YouTube and also on Instagram. This is a big deal for me because I'm horrible with technology, but glad to be with you this morning. It is Monday, September 16th, 2024. Happy Fed Week. Looks like we're going to get into our easing cycle. Rate cuts are in the forefront. The question is, do we get 50? Do we get 25 basis points? That's pretty much going to be the narrative all week until Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is when we get the decision. But until then, let's take a look at what's in front of us. Good morning, everyone. And if you're just joining in, we do this every morning, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time here on YouTube and on Instagram from now on. Thank you so much for following. Thank you guys so much for being a part of this great company. Dow futures are up 104 points. The NASDAQ is down 93. If you are trading on TOS, Thinkorswim, keep in mind that default contract is now December. Okay. You can see the symbol right here, Z24. That's December contracts. More than likely, if you're doing prop trading or you're doing any other kind of trading on a different type of platform, you may be using the U symbol. That's for September expiry. Friday is OPEX or quad witching. That's when these contracts expire, futures contracts. Keep an eye on December. So again, Z24 is the new contract. And if you notice, if we bring up NQ, the NASDAQ futures this morning, you can see a difference in price or a gap. That is not something that's bullish or anything or bearish or anything. That is just a differentiation of pricing. So you can see here, 19,571 is kind of where we closed or kind of near that area. And you can see we're at 672. Doesn't mean that we soared. No, it was just a differentiation from a change of contract to the new contract that we'll be focusing on. Okay. So if you're looking at here, the Z24, it looks like we have a gap up. And the last time we had this, and I talked about this on YouTube this morning, I did a recap video this morning talking about last week and the trades that we did and what I expect. So if you're interested in that video, check that out. It is free for everyone on YouTube. You can see right here on the 14th of June, we had a similar gap up. That was a similar change of contract. And eventually that gap filled within about, 10 days. Now, could we get that gap filled today? Could we get that gap filled this week? Can we get that gap filled in 10 days? That remains to be seen, but this has happened before. I just don't want anyone to be spooked out like, whoa, did we gap up? Why does it show that it's red? That's the only reason, okay? So with that being said, the NASDAQ is down 93 points, S&P down 4, the Russell's up 0.31%. Small caps is going to be a big beneficiary here if rate cuts do happen, if the 50 rate cut decision happens. We don't know. My expectation, honestly, is 25. I think everyone's set up for disappointment. And I think we pull back this week. And I hope I'm wrong. I really am, because I want stocks to go up, obviously. But this is the worst 2 weeks in terms of the stock market. September, last 2 weeks, not easy. So I'm kind of looking at it as a glass half empty, if you know what I'm talking about. I know a little bit negative Nancy here, a little pessimistic, but the Fed just loves to disappoint people and disappoint bulls. So I think that's what they're going to pull off. I think we only get 25. Crossing my fingers for 50, obviously, but I think 25 is what we get. The market throws a tantrum. We start filling that gap there. If we don't already, we start pulling back a little bit and kind of lead a little lower as we get into finally a seasonally better time right around November. 10-year Treasury yield, 3.646%. Dollar index, 100.69. We're still looking for that $100 level or 100 level. The volatility index, 3.26%, 1710 this morning. Want to stay below 20. That's what we're looking for if you're a bull. Crude oil is up this morning, 1.84. If you notice, gas prices have been going down. Thank the futures market. $1.96 for gasoline futures. That is up 2%. Gold futures, again, lower rates. If we get a 50 basis point cut, gold is going to soar. Just reminder there. And we talked about this on the podcast this weekend about what is the meaning of these rate cuts and how will it affect dollar-denominated assets, stocks, gold, crypto. I break it down on Spotify's, the podcast on Spotify. Make sure to check that out. Silver futures up nearly 1%. Copper nearly up 1%. Talked about Bitcoin this morning. Bitcoin is still within this downtrend. I still expect Bitcoin to fall. Yes, that's still part of the thesis that I have, that the market and the Fed is going to disappoint the bulls and disappoint the market, and we're going to throw a tantrum. And that means crypto is going to sell off. I like the level of right around 49,700 to 50,000. That is the highs from January 11th, which we rejected, and then we finally broke above it in February. Now we've been stuck in this downward channel. We're near the 200-day moving average. Once we break that, and we've broken it before, I still think the March downside is still coming. I think 49,000 is a great place if anyone is looking to DCA in the future. Not bad. I still like Bitcoin long term, obviously, but again, we're still looking at this as traders, short term trading. And I still think Bitcoin has more room to the downside. And I really hate saying that. I really don't like being a bear. So let's see here. What else we got this morning? All right. I'm going to see what is moving this morning pre-market, and then we can take a look at it together. Let's see. All right. Bringing up the heat map this morning. Let's see if I can bring up the 1 hour performance. We should be pre-market. Here we go. Yeah, pretty flat this morning. Nothing really standing out. You can see Amazon's flat, Google's flat, Meta's flat. All the main ones are down. Apple is down this morning. I don't know why that's showing. Let me go ahead and get the correct pre-market movers. Let's see. All right. Trying to get this set up. Here we go. Here's some of the pre-market movers this morning. You have Pfizer that was up 0.5% after the drug maker said its experimental drug to combat condition that causes cancer patients to lose their appetite and weight showed positive results in the mid-stage trial. Boeing is up 0.3% this morning after falling over 3% on Friday as a strike by more than 30,000 workers stretched into its fourth day on Monday, with company and union negotiators due to resume talks over a labor contract on Tuesday. Intel is up 1.2% this morning after Bloomberg reported the chipmaker has officially qualified for as much as $3.5 billion in federal grants to make semiconductors for the U.S. DoD, Department of Defense. Gotta love that government money. Tesla is up 0.1% after the EV manufacturer reported a 1.2% increase in registrations in July, propelled by 5,175 deliveries of the Cybertruck, according to S&P Global Mobility data. Apple just had some headlines this morning. That's why the Nasdaq's pulling back a little bit, down 2.3% after initial demand for the tech giant's iPhone Series 16 appears to be underwhelming. According to analysts at Jefferies and Citi, Target is up 0.3% as they will hire 100,000 seasonal employees in line of what it hired the last 3 years as the retailer gears up for an all-important holiday period. So that's good news. Apollo Global Management up 1.2% after the asset manager and BP, British Petroleum, up 0.2%, announced a $1 billion deal to fund British energy giant's stake in the Trans-Adriatic natural gas pipeline. And Trump Media and Technology Group stock rose 1.2%, adding to Friday's nearly 12% gains after former President Donald Trump said he will not sell shares of the social media company when the lockup period ends. Trump survived an apparent second assassination attempt on Sunday, weeks before the closely watched U.S. presidential election. And those are the market movers this morning. So let's go ahead and get back to the market. We're going to go to NASDAQ this morning. Actually, no, let's go to Q's, see what they got for us. We're going to go to the 4-hour chart since it shows pre-market movers as we know, or pre-market action as we know. Let's see here. Okay, so 475.80, you could see right here, pretty standard level of resistance, even though we broke out of it with that volatility in August. Right here is going to be our R moving forward. If we break above it, yes, 480 is a possibility, but I'm going to keep this as our resistance moving forward on QQQ. It's no secret. Again, like I'll repeat, I still think pretty bearish this week. I think that the Fed is going to disappoint, unfortunately. Doesn't mean we can't take advantage of the run up. For example, with Tesla. Tesla this morning, we had some headlines. Let's see if we can get above 235.15. Why? Because we have a gap to fill right here at 245.23. Now, that might just be small potatoes, a $10 move, right? For a name like Tesla, but we have traded very well lately, and Tesla has been very good to us. And those headlines are nice to see. We had a comment here, saw 6 Tesla Cybertrucks just yesterday here in Orange County, California. Must be giving them away. Nice. I see a lot of Cybertrucks here in Central Florida. I'm near Cape Canaveral. So right there is SpaceX. We get launches all the time. And all I see on the road is Teslas. And I seen a couple of Cybertrucks. They are pretty neat. And looks kind of weird, obviously, but most new designs kind of stay that way where it's just original. It looks different. And again, I'm not a huge fan of the Cybertruck personally, but I do like what it does for the stock. So keep buying the Cybertrucks if that's the thing out there. Please do so we can get this stock going higher. That's the deal. Let's see. Speaking of Tesla, let's see JPM. JPM is something I talked about on the video this week. And you could see right around $200.80. I know $5 away from where we are pre-market, but I'm keeping an eye on JPM because if this Fed reserve rate decision gets us to pull back, we're going to get to 180. And I want to be along for this ride if we can get there. So we do have some setups out there for more downside, especially the banks. I like the banks longer term. Again, this is just short-term movement. Microsoft, keep an eye above 434.03. You can see that was when we had resistance back in March and in May. And then we broke out of it in June, pulled back, but still within this nice, beautiful channel. Very technically sound. And 434 being the level, that's when we look for 446 to 445. So I'm going to keep an eye really on the options volume. Today really won't tell us everything. And there's a reason why. It's positioning. We don't know what to expect from the Fed. No one really does. I mean, people have theories, people have predictions, but no one has concrete proof or concrete factual evidence that this will guaranteed happen. This is all reaction. That's all we're doing. And it's a pretty difficult game to play. So, but the more you do it, the more you get used to things, the more you get used to patterns. And it just seems that as we get close to resistance on NASDAQ and S&P and Russell, in my opinion, I think we're just going to reject in a seasonally weaker period. And that's natural. Down the line, yeah, I expect stocks to move higher. Absolutely. Again, this is just short term this week. If we look at the stock market almanac, I have I have a bullish day tomorrow, the 17th. This is historically speaking. And on Friday, triple witching day, you have a bearish day, apparently, according to the stock market almanac. Triple witching day in September, Dow is up 11 of the last 19, but it's down 8 of the last 11 times that we had September witching. So a lot of things are fluid, as we know. I think we get a little bit more of a pullback here on NASDAQ. If you're looking at the old contracts, I'm looking at 19,400. This is the September contracts. If that does break, 19,266. I'm expecting more weakness in the NASDAQ, especially if Apple does not play ball. Let's go ahead and chart that together. Apple pulling back this morning. Again, the headlines of weaker than expected iPhone first week sales was the headline. You can see now we're below the 50. We're below the 20-day. Now, the problem is that you can have direction, but where's our target? Now, again, the target to me, again, just looking at pure, moving averages, right around the 208 to 210 level. Keep an eye on the 210 puts. If we can get below possibly 215, I'm going to put it at 214.60. If we can get there, I like 208 to 210 puts for Apple. And really, if you look at the long-term chart, it's a breakout still. And if anything, you're looking at an inverse head and shoulders. So again, we want to confirm that this inverse head and shoulders, again, small one, not a huge one. If that breaks that pattern, at least we can take advantage of the short. Maybe we retest 200, which is the August lows. That would be great. We can do the 210s and then we hold runners, all that good stuff. All right. We'll have an opportunity to trade this depending on which direction we go. Google is below this trend, this channel here, but it did bounce off 152. So we want to break that first if we want some more downside. And it is rejecting the 200-day. So there is a gap to fill that we have not yet filled, guys. 145. Oh, I do love Google, but I'm going to have to turn a little bearish on this boy. We got to get below 152. Let's place that alert together. We'll do it at 1 cent. And then once we break down, we got a gap to fill here at 145. We'll keep an eye on the 145 calls. Maybe we can buy some time for October. It's not that expensive to trade Google. It's not like Amazon or Tesla, for example, or Qs. Qs is expensive to trade nowadays relative to what it used to be, obviously. All right, so I think that we're all set. All right, team, we'll leave it there. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. Make sure if you have any questions to type them along the chat box window that we have on YouTube. Any questions, feel free to DM us on Instagram. Thanks again. I apologize if there's any kind of bugs. I'm still just kind of setting this up in terms of linking up Instagram and YouTube together. But we're on YouTube, we're on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and we're also on Instagram and Twitter, of course. So let's go ahead and do last one really quickly. NVIDIA, we'll do 121 as our resistance. If that breaks above, we can take a look at the 125s. Bear Carlos says we're going to get below 115.14 and we're going to get down to 111.40. So around the 112s, the 111 puts. I'm sorry, guys. I hate being short. I hate being a bear, but that's what we're looking at this week personally. Now, I hope I'm wrong, but let's see what happens. Have a great rest of your morning. I will see you guys tomorrow. Cheers all.